Hey guys, welcome to our first podcast for Rise Solar. My name's Sean Hallmander. I'm the CEO at Rise Solar. Let's just go down the line and introduce ourselves.
My name is Paulina.
My name is Newman.
Name's Abdul.
Cool. Let's have Paulina here. Just give us a few questions and we'll answer them off as we go.
Okay, so first question. Give us a better understanding of who your company is.
Yeah, so we're Rise Solar. We're out of Tampa, Florida for right now. We're at the grassroots right now, but we have some absolute killers on the team. A couple of them or a few of them are to my right here. We're a brand new solar company. We do door-to-door marketing for solar, and we make multiple six figures a year doing it. So we're excited to get started, and we've already had strong numbers in our first couple of weeks. So we know we're going to be a big brand out here in Tampa, Florida.
Okay, well, since you're the CEO, how long have you been doing this, and why did you want to start your own company?
Yeah, I've been doing door-to-door sales for 2 years. I've been with some great companies, and I just found it was time to go and start my own thing and kind of have control about where the company's going. I have my own views on what I think is a great market and where I think deserves the most attention. So I decided to go start my own thing to have control about where we go and where we grow and build. And right now, I think that Florida is the greatest market on earth for solar. So if you're in Florida and you're not selling solar, you're doing something wrong. It's the best market for sure right now.
What's one tip you wish you knew when it came to sales?
Really like focusing on, the mindset and the aspect of, it's not really, getting the sale. Pretty much just having that motivation and mindset to keep going. It's really like, how they say all in the solar industry, it's a numbers game. So pretty much just keep going after it and motivating yourself to not give up. I think that's one thing like I wish I learned early on. And, now I really took control of it and, keep pushing myself every day to, not give up. So I think it's just motivating yourself and having that drive to push for something. Because eventually, with all the numbers, it will come to you.
Okay, well, Newman, this question is for you. You just graduated college, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you take up from college, or do you think you need college to be successful?
So this question hits dear to home because the past 4 years I was working my butt off to finish my college degree. I graduated in economics and business. And looking back, I think it was the biggest 4 years that I've wasted in my life. I would not recommend going to college unless you're going into the top 10 or top 25 and you plan on actually going into politics or law or even the STEM field in the future. I think every single college in America, besides the top 10, Harvard, Stanford, Yale, you're just really wasting your time. I felt like I learned more here in 6 months working in the solar industry than I have 4 years of going to college. And what I realize now is like working at solar, it really sets you up for the future because you have that financial security. Whereas college, it sort of delays your success by 4 years, unless you go to the right one, of course. But what I recommend for every one of my friends and family back home is unless they're getting into Harvard, Stanford, or Yale, if they're going to just a regular university, I would just skip that and use those 4 years to develop a core skill instead, because it'll make you so much more in the long run.
I totally agree with that. I have an opinion about that too. I went to college for a year and a month, and after I failed the whole first year, so semester 1, semester 2, a bunch of F's on my credit, what's it called? The report card, not credit card. I forgot what it was even called. I haven't been in school in a while. But I did great in high school. I wasn't a bad student at all. But then when I went to college, it was just distractions. And, I felt like most of the people that were in college were there just to party, so they were paying the tuition, the tens of thousands of dollars just to go and party. And maybe that's not the case for other schools, and I'm sure it's not, and for other people. But at the end of the day, my opinion on college is that you're learning from professors. And if your goal is to make a lot of money in life or to, be successful, just look at your professors. What are they pulling up to school in? Where do they live? Are they more successful are they where you want to be? Because if they're not, then, you're learning from someone that you don't even want to be like. How do they know what to teach you? about you, where you want to be personally. I want like the best things out of life, and those professors that I was learning from were worse off than a lot of other people I knew. So it was like I don't believe in college, if that's what you're going to do, is to try to be successful and make a lot of money in life. There are some fields that it does make sense, like doctors, lawyers. Those are great professions, and we need those in society. But for a lot of people, especially people that don't really know what they're going to do, I don't think going to college just to try to figure that out is a great idea. I think you should go out into the real world, maybe do what we do, right, which is knock doors and get your face kicked in a little bit. And you'll kind of start to figure out how life works, and a lot better than the college track. I think they say that a year of knocking doors is worth like 4 years of college. So that's what I've found in door to door, is even if you don't get any, take any money from it, or you waste it all and spend it all on some stupid stuff, when you do door to door, you're getting a 4-year college degree in 1 year. And depending how hard you work, I believe you can make that 4-year college degree in 6 months. So that's what door to door has done for me. It's been the best education that I could have ever asked for.
I had a really good question actually for Sean. Like, what do you think is the number one thing that differentiates people that work on this team versus like any other industry, any other job? Like, what makes us different?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've seen a lot of teams out here, and they're all doing what they should be doing, but the reality is they just don't hit it with the same intensity. They don't hit it with the same focus. A lot of them have multiple different, a lot of them are out there and they have multiple different things that they want to do. They have distractions. They were working for the weekend, just like it's a regular 9-to-5 job, which this is not. A lot of people don't have that singular focus that great teams that I've been with my entire career, and that's why the teams I've been with have done so well, is because we have singular focus, and we're not working for the weekend. We're not working to go to the bar or working to go hang out with friends or do whatever on the weekend. It's like we're here for a short amount of time as possible to make as much money as possible and learn what we need to learn so that we can invest and then don't have to work our entire life. These people are setting themselves up for the weekends and just having fun. So I think it's just like singular focus on what we want, our goals, and just doing the job, pretty much just devoting to it.
That's a very interesting way to look at it. Paulina, let me ask you, you have a personal experiences because obviously you two live together, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. How does Sean operate in his day, and was he always like this? Did it change throughout time, or how was it?
Yeah, well, like he operates every morning. He wakes up super early. So, he has a routine. He goes to the gym. He eats super healthy, always writes down his goals. And, he's really implemented that on me. Mm-hmm. I didn't do that before. And, I feel like I've changed too. And yeah, he runs his team, and yeah.
You've been in the industry for like, what you say, about 2 years now. One thing I've noticed with you is like you always have that drive and motivation to get up and go every day and get deals and just kill it out there. One question to you is like what motivates you, or what gives you that drive to actually get up and because there's a lot of people when you get one deal that one day you take it easy and slow, but you've killed the game where you had hat tricks every single day. What gives you that drive to go after it? That's
an awesome question. I think like the main focus of this game is to just have that energy and excitement every morning. There's 365 days in a year. I've been doing this for 2 years. That's a lot of days that I had to wake up and find that excitement every single day. It's not always easy to do the same thing every single day, but that's why in the mornings I'm writing down my goals. I'm literally visualizing the things I want. This morning it was like, I was looking at this McLaren on the way back from the gym. I was like, I want that. And it gets me excited again. So every day I'm coming back to work, I'm coming back to the office with that new excitement. And it's literally forcing your brain, because at a certain point, like humans have their needs, right? Once their needs are met, they don't really need to go out there and produce anymore and make a ton of money. So it's like, if your rent is paid, your car payment's paid, and you can afford groceries, why would you go out there and make even more money? And so for me, I had solved those issues a long time ago. Like over a year ago, all those issues were solved. I'd figure out sales enough to not have to worry about those basic needs. And after that, it was turning on another switch in my brain, which was like, There's mansions out there. There's helicopters, jets. There's all these nice cars out there. Those are meant for someone. It's like, who is that meant for? And who's able to go out and get it? It's like, why not me? Why them and why not me? So every morning, just flipping that switch of like, I want these things. Those things are for me, and just getting that new excitement every day. Excitement is the name of the game for sure. Yeah.
Sort of to segue off that, what sort of person did you have to become in order to be a millionaire at this age? You're 21 years old right now, right?
Yeah, 21, about to turn 22 next month. What type of person you'd like to be? Yeah, I mean, the type of person you have to think of that type of person. You know, are they playing video games? Are they going out to the bar and getting wasted? Are they doing all those things that you might still be doing? Probably not. A multi-millionaire, and you know, I'm at where I'm at. I'm still not satisfied. I'm looking at billionaires and what they do. If you think that billionaires or even millionaires are watching TV all day, are wasting their time, are doing things that aren't going to push them forward at all times, you know, you're wrong. They're constantly doing something that's going to push them. They're reading books. They're waking up early. They're going to the gym in the mornings. They're doing all these things that we know how to do. Everyone knows what to do. You just have to go and do it. So when you're about to go and turn on the Xbox or turn on the PS5, or if you're going to go to the bar with your friends, just think like, would the person that I want to be in 5 years from now be doing this? Probably not. And a lot of times the problem is people like make excuses. Well, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it next year. You know, I'm still young. You know how many times I could have told myself, I'm only 20. I don't need to live this kind of like life. It's like turning that off and be like, no, I want to start now. Because if you don't start now, you're going to have to start later, but you have to start at some point. So it's turning that switch and starting right now rather than later. And start acting like that CEO, that multimillionaire, and it's just going to come to you faster than you can think if you start acting like one. Yeah. But yeah, I have a question for you guys. So, you know, you've been at Rise Solar. We're still at the grassroots, but you've already seen a lot of success. You guys are newer to the game. How many months do you have, Newman?
This is like my 5th, 6th month.
6th month, and then Abdul?
My fourth.
4th month. Super new to the game. You guys have seen massive success. You know, what have you seen? What's been the cause of that to be able to produce more than the average person at this point in your career?
Yeah, you know, coming from a whole different state, you know, really taking that risk from, you know, leaving your whole family behind and going on your own, and then, you know, getting your own apartment, and, you know, trying to make a change. So, you know, I didn't move here down here for no reason. You know, I always have that mindset and mentality of like, I came here to prove something. I came here to, you know, to be great and successful. So I wake up with that mentality every day to go out there and get it, because at the end of the day, I don't want to go back to my parents' home and, you know, look like a failure. You know, that's what I wake up and look at every day. And, you know, at the end of the day, I want to, you know, be able to provide for my family and take care of my family. So I wake up with that intention and just go out there, kill it every day, you know, get a lot of training, and then, you know, learn from a lot of people. So just, you know, have that mindset of, you know, a dog, and just go out there, kill it.
Yeah, I think that's a huge life hack too, is like leaving your hometown where your parents are at a young age. And so when you hit me up, he hit me up back in September, and I was like, if he's about to make the move, this guy is going to be he's going to be like a gem in the organization, because that's what I did, and it's a whole different mentality.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big change, and it's risky, it's scary, but, you know, once you make that change, you know, everything just, you know, goes for itself, as long as you sticking with your goals, and, you know, you have a future. You're looking at your future ahead of time. Yeah.
So like life hack, anyone that's in their like lower 20s, leave your hometown and just go somewhere else. Start paying that rent. You know, you start paying rent and you sign a lease for a year. It's like, all right, now it's real. Like now life is real. So, you know, I did that at 19, and it got real fast. So it's like, I got to pay this rent. I had an expensive apartment, and that just changes the type of person you have to be. So, but yeah, Newman.
I think one of the biggest things that's helped me out is especially the people that I'm surrounded by, and the team, right? So our CEO right now at CU, obviously, the amount of installs you put in last year, and even November, December when I came down, it was just a no-brainer of like which team I should be on. But I feel like the number one thing that actually makes us successful is the fact that we're so small and tight-knit. We also keep each other accountable. Like, it's not just about knocking doors. How are we outside of work, the gym? How do we conduct ourselves on the weekend with people in our society? And I think with Rise, it's a whole different mentality, because we're like, it's not just about making money for us. It's like we want to be the best at everything, every aspect of life. And that really, really put things into perspective for me, at least. I started out operating at a completely different level than I did before. And I think one of the main reasons is because of you. I mean, a 21-year-old making $500,000 his first year in solar, I was like, why was I even wasting my time in college? So I came down here, and then I see like the people that I'm surrounded with, they truly want the best for themselves. And then it just pushes you to want the best for yourself too. So I think that's what it came down to for me, was like the people that I'm surrounded with, the city that we're in, and the level that we're trying to get to. It takes a whole different level of operational efficiency to get there. So yeah, that's what it was for me.
Awesome.
Okay, what's the hardest thing about solar, like working in the solar industry?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not easy. They're not just handing out hundreds of thousands of dollars at people's doorsteps. Sometimes it feels like that, but they're not. The hardest thing is just rejection. There's no doubt that the hardest thing is rejection, hearing no, 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 no. But that's what gets you the yes, and the yes gets you paid. So you go out there, especially at first, you're afraid of rejection because your whole life, you fear that no means like a bad thing. It means you're in danger. It means you're in trouble. But really, no is a massive part of life. In order to get a yes, you have to get multiple no's in any part of life that you're dealing with. So really, like when you join this job, you start to realize that no's are actually a good thing. It means that you took a shot at something. It means that there was a lot of value behind the thing that you're asking for. And it means that if you just keep going, you're going to eventually get a yes. So every aspect of your life, you start to reflect that way. I need to, whatever it is, it's like, I want a partner. You keep asking, you get a few no's. You don't get as hurt anymore as like you may have before. And eventually you get the yes. So that's the hardest part, I think, is the rejection.
Objections. No, I would also agree, because, I'd say, everybody feels, guilty and not good when they get a rejection, obviously. So that weighs them down, especially when you're at the doors. You get these multiple no's. It's just going to wear you down, where you just end up maybe, going to sit in your car for 5 minutes, and that 5 minutes might take longer. All those no's could really affect you, as long as, it depends on you as a person, to be honest. Like my way of like getting around that is, when I get multiple no's and I'm feeling down, like I just turn on Andy for South. Mm-hmm. He really motivates me and hypes me up. And then, I get out the door, slam the door, and just, get knocking. I keep listening to him, and then, all his motivational speaks, like it gets me up, and then that's what gets me going every day. Mm-hmm. Just having somebody who motivates you, or something that motivates you to keep going, because door industry is not hard. Knocking doors it's not easy. Knocking doors is not easy. Rejections is, it could really weigh you down. So as a person, I think you got to find which way gets you motivated to keep going.
Mm-hmm. Newman, what do you think is the hardest part?
I think the hardest part is obviously the law of the averages. So I'll give last week as an example. I got a deal every single day except Thursday, but Thursday was the day that I knocked the most doors, right? Had I given up that day, I wouldn't have been motivated to go on the next day. But I looked at it as this is just going to play out the averages for me the next day. And the next day I go, surely enough, on my third door, I get a deal. I think the hardest part is like knowing when to stop and when to not. And for me, it's like, don't stop every single day. If you keep going, you will get a deal no matter what. Like it's, the numbers game just play out for themselves. But with a lot of the newer guys, like, sometimes for them, their level of tolerance is a lot lower than ours. Like we could go out there and get 50 no's and we still have that morale there. for a lot of the newer guys, they hear 1 or 2 no's and they're done for the day. So I think overcoming that step where you're just like, it doesn't matter how many people say no to me, I'm going to go out there every single day and get that contact. And that's what it was for me. Once I changed that and realized no matter what happens, if I get a deal or not today, I'm going out. That's when I started seeing way more success.
Yeah, for sure. And you're literally, once you start to learn that no's are just getting you closer to a yes, you're just trick or treating for $5,000 or $10,000. You're just out there knocking doors. Oh, it's just I don't like Snickers or whatever. And then you keep knocking and then you get that one that's like $5,000-$10,000 commission. So like it's trick or treating for commission. It's Easter egg hunting. You're trying to get that one Easter egg that has $5,000-$10,000. It's just getting through those no's to find that. So once you get used to the no's, which you will get used to the no's, I can go out now and just get I can get 100 no's and not have it really weigh me down. And then once you kind of get to that level, you're just Easter egg hunting for $10,000 bills. So,
Sean, I had another question. So obviously, you've been in the industry for 2 years. Can you walk us through, because I know there's going to be a lot of regular people who've never knocked doors before watching. How did you get to your first 100,000 in solar, and what was the process like?
Yeah, so the first 100,000 was obviously the hardest. The first 100,000 was I joined, I started knocking at first. I didn't get the results I wanted. I was out there. My friend had joined about a month before me, and he had already gotten like 2 sales. One was actually my mom. He signed up my mom. So he really had got one like stranger. He signed up like one stranger that he knocked a door and got it. And I was like, dude, I just got to beat him. I just got to beat my friend. So I was out there. I wasn't getting any results. I was out there every day, all day. And eventually, he started getting more and more sales because his learning curve, he was passing his learning curve, and I was still way under my learning curve, and he was getting more sales and I was getting discouraged. I was like, he's beating me. He's like kicking my butt. I have no sales at all. And then I got my first one. And then from there it was downhill. It was just another one. So it was just trying to get that first deal. After that, I knew it was going to be all, it was going to feel like I was going downhill instead of uphill. So it was like I got that first deal, and then it was just easier and easier and easier. Momentum was building. And then eventually I just cracked 100,000. It took me, the first year I made about $100,000, and it was just a lot of that, getting through that learning curve. After that, it was just doing the same thing every day, waking up and being excited and getting after it. And just, learning every day and just training every day. But getting over that first learning curve is all it really took. And then it was just repeating those actions over and over again.
So another interesting part about the story as well, I don't think you had mentioned it. How long was the time from 0 to 100K? And then how long was it from 100K to 200K?
Yeah, that's a great question. After the first 100K, the 200K came like that. It was there in a second. And then the 300K came like that. It was there in a second. Once you break that first $100,000, and I think Charlie Munger says the same thing. He says, that's Warren Buffett's business partner. He says that the first 100,000 is the hardest. After that, he basically says it's a lot easier. You can kind of lay off a little bit of the absolute craziness. But that first 100K came, I was looking at my commission sheet. This was the next year. So I made 100K the first year. Second year is about 3 months in or something, I had hit 100K in my commission sheet. And after that, I just kept watching it. A few weeks later, 200, 300. That's literally how it felt. It was just adding up by the hundreds. And I know from this point on, after you break that learning curve and you hit that point, it's easy to make $1 million. You can literally make $1 million knocking doors in a year. So.
What are you most excited to purchase? This is an offbeat, non-serious one, but what are you, as a young 21-year-old millionaire, I know you're really super smart with your money, right? Obviously, that's what it took to get you here. When is the Lambo coming in?
Dude, I think it's a McLaren.
Okay,
I think it's a McLaren. I saw one this morning and I was like, dang, I just love the way they look. I think I want to get a McLaren pretty soon, so. As soon as possible. But yeah, I don't like spending a lot of money like crazy, but I do believe that you need to work for something that you really want, something that really gets you excited. Investing gets me really excited, but like having just looking at a McLaren and thinking about driving that car, like it being mine, just gets me so pumped up. So you should like work really hard to get those things, you know, make enough that you can afford it 10 times and then go out and get it. But you should aim for material. People say materialistic things aren't good, but they actually are. If you set them as a goal, if it's a reward for hitting a certain goal, if it made you reach higher than you normally would have, then of course it's a good thing. Get that Rolex, get that McLaren, you know, but it's only if it pushes you to make more than you would have if you didn't have that goal. And it's a reward. And then your brain knows, okay, next time I'm going to get a reward for doing this again. And you just keep up those actions. So it's coming soon.
It's coming soon. Abdul, how about you? What are you buying?
What am I buying? I was thinking the Urus.
Yours? Lamborghini
Urus.
Okay, perfect.
I'd take that over the McLaren any day. Any day.
It's a toss up.
That's awesome.
But no, really, my goal for this year at least is to, you know, buy 2 rental properties. That's my number one goal. To really achieve that, you know, before the Lambo and all that stuff, is to really like find, you know, a good, like I'd say like probably a 3-4, you know, apartment buildings, that, you know, dang, I just like completely faded off. But what I'm trying to say is like what Sean, what'd you get? What'd you purchase? The duplex? Was it a duplex?
Yeah, but it failed inspection.
The triplex, okay.
It was quad.
Right.
It was
a quad?
Yeah.
What was it, quad?
Wasn't it 4?
No, it was triplex.
Oh, it was only
Triplex,
triplex.
okay.
Sorry.
But it failed
Yeah.
inspection, so
Yeah, I know. That's just
Run after it
tough
again.
part. Well, yeah, like to get 2 of those, that's my goal for this year. Really try to achieve that. And then, you know, all that other stuff comes throughout the years. Well, what about you, Newman?
Well, me personally, I just want to purchase a home. I've been looking at some of the houses in the area. They're really nice. But what I was thinking, it's so interesting. So this is your 2nd year in the industry or starting your 3rd year, right? And you're looking into buying a McLaren. This is your 4th month in the industry and, you know, you're looking to buy 2 units. It's very interesting how like just the solar industry, if you're successful in it, by the end of like the 6th month, the 7th month, you're already thinking so high. Paulina, we forgot to ask you, what do you want to buy?
My dream car is a G-Wagon.
Okay, are you gonna get a G-Wagon this year?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
At the end of the year.
End of the year. Sean, is that happening?
it's up to her. It's up to her. She's got to knock a lot of doors. Yeah. But yeah, it is crazy. Like you can start dreaming of those big things once you start to see it. So you do it for a month, 2 months, and you just start to see it. You may not be there just yet, but you know it's coming without a doubt. And that's the interesting thing about sales. A lot of people say, oh, but my money it's not guaranteed, you know, like I have to pay my mortgage. That's why I want to work this 9 to 5 and get my weekly paycheck. I know it's coming. I know I can afford my mortgage, this and that. But with sales, you can predict your numbers. You can predict how much you're going to make. You just have to say, you know, you break it down. Okay, it takes me this many doors to get a deal. I get this many deals and so many of them cancel. And you break down those numbers. And this is my commission per deal. And you figure out just how many doors literally that you need to hit to make a certain amount of income. And you always land within a few thousand of that, either more or less. So setting those goals, you literally can predict how much you're going to make. And it's going to be a lot more that when you're in a salary position, when you're in a 9 to 5 job, they give you one salary. They give you one weekly paycheck. It can't be more, can't be less. Maybe you get the promotion, maybe you get a few bonuses, but you know you can't max out over, let's say you have a $50,000 job, $30,000 in potential bonuses, $80,000 is the most you can make. There's nothing more you can make at that job, and you're capped out. In sales, in door-to-door sales, you have an unlimited earning potential. You can earn, like we said, first year 100,000, second year 500,000. Now I know I can hit over $1 million a year. There's no cap to what you can earn, as opposed to some salary job that, you know, caps you out at 80,000. So that's the beautiful thing about sales, and that's why I got so hooked so fast.
I was gonna say, back segueing off that point. So senior year of college, I get a job offered, 85K, 95, like with bonus and everything, it's 100,000, right? After taxes, I was getting paid around 6,000 a month, right? And it's sales too, and it's like there's a quota and all that. For them, I had to meet like 10 accounts, and that's good. Like my salary's there. And I was just looking over the numbers the other day. Like last week I put in 3 accounts. One, just the commission off one deal, it's like $7,000. It's more than I would get paid off of like a salary job. I personally, I left a salaried work from home job to come and do this. And like, it's been the best decision I've ever made in my life, because the amount of work like you're putting in corporate versus what you're getting, if you put that same amount of work here in solar and like you truly like strive to be the best, like this is a skill. Like many people think it's just knocking doors. It's a very, very strategic skill in which like we make sure that, you know, we're upkeeped. We go to the house, we present ourselves in the most professional manner. The amount that you make here, it's like almost 10 times what you could make at corporate if you're a high performing person. And so, yeah, I was just super excited last week when I realized that like I would work my butt off for weeks and weeks at a time just to have like managers and like CEOs tell me, hey, like we need more production, but I wouldn't get to see any of the profit. Here in solar, it's a little bit different because like when you provide value, you get 100% of what you're putting out there. And so that was like the main thing for me. It's like you sort of get to like write your own salary here versus that in corporate, they write your weekly when you're working, but they don't write your salary. You end up getting stuck with it. So that was the main thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for anyone that's in like a 9-to-5 job right now, like I definitely feel you, because you may have kids, you may have a mortgage to pay, a car payment that you're just making enough to pay for that and your groceries and everything you guys need. That's how most people live, is like paycheck to paycheck. So, you know, I feel you, the fear of leaving that secure weekly paycheck to go and make your own, to eat what you kill, basically. But you know, it's just a mindset that you have to realize that, yeah, you may struggle for a little bit. Everyone that succeeds in anything really struggles for a little bit at first, but once you get past that, you know, your potential is unlimited, and you're doing something. You know, it doesn't mean if you're staying in your salary job that you're like a bad parent or anything like that. You're trying to provide, but what you have to realize is you have to take a risk to see what's on the other side of that comfort. Right now you're in a comfortable position. You have to take a risk and get uncomfortable to figure out what's on the other side of that. And it's great. Believe me, it's like great. You don't have to worrying a lot less about money. You don't wake up and worry about the bills you have to pay. It's just really how much more can I make? What more can I provide for my family if I go out this week and knock a ton of doors and make a ton of money? It's really a lot better feeling than the fear of being paycheck to paycheck, because you have to do everything right when you're paycheck to paycheck. When you work this way, you have a lot of wiggle room to mess up or do things wrong, and still be just fine. So take that risk, get uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable is one of the biggest keys that I had to success. Every time I get comfortable, I slow down. My production slows down. I have enough money. I don't need to, go out and knock doors like crazy anymore. Well, what do? I take all that money, I'll get rid of it. I'll put it in an investment. I'll go make a change in my life to get super uncomfortable again. And I'm back to young Sean, like the beginner Sean, like going out there, going absolutely crazy. And now that I've beat in the learning curve, those numbers are insane. When I'm in a position of uncomfortable, I'm going crazy and I'm insane numbers. So get uncomfortable if you're comfortable right now.
That was a really, really good one. And sort of to like take away from that, right? I guess the amount that you're able to produce is a lot more than what it was 6 months ago, 7 months ago. I personally got super excited because I had my best week last week, in which I put in like 22K worth of commission. Can you sort of like go into like, what's the J curve in solar, and at what point do you get to a level where like you can truly put in 100K a week into your commission pipeline?
Yeah. So anything in life has a learning curve. With solar, there's a learning curve that, with the training platforms that we offer and the leadership that we offer, and the people that you're surrounded with, they're there to help you, and they're going to answer your questions and help you get through whatever you're struggling with. And once you get past that, for me, it probably took me longer than a lot of you guys. It took me a lot longer. It took me about 6 months to get past that. Of course, the cool thing about this job though is while you're learning, you're earning while you're learning. So I'm in that 6 months that I wasn't really doing that well. I also made like 40 grand in 6 months. So this job just pays unproportionally. You know, even if you're not good at it, you're still going to make decent money if you just put yourself out there. So I'm out there 6 months, I'm making 40 grand. That's 80 grand a year. And I'm 19 years old or 20 years old. And I'm like complaining. I'm like, dude, I'm like, why am I not getting more sales? It's kind of ridiculous to think about. But then when I, you know, working harder and harder and harder, and training harder and harder and reaching out to people about struggles I have. Maybe it's, you know, when I say this, they say this or whatever it is. I finally got past that learning curve after like the 6 month, and I realized, okay, I know what to do now. I know exactly what to do. I just have to go out and do it more and more and more and keep training and keep getting better and better. I have you start to figure out what your mental algorithm is to getting better and better and better. And I'm still getting better. It never ends. That's why I still train just like everyone else. I don't stop training because I'm still getting better and better and better, so that if I go out there, I can make even more the next month and even more the next month. So
that was amazing. Sort of to segue off that, I wanted to ask, what type of person are we looking for? Because obviously the more and more I thought about it, like it truly takes a certain type of person to be successful at this and really, really successful. And obviously not everyone is going to be able to do that. Who do you think would make a great fit to like join us and have the same level of success, if not maybe a little bit less or more, that you did?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I have people hitting me up all the time that a lot of them I have to turn down because there's a lot of things there's a few things that we look for. One is that, you know, we look for motivated people, because you can't motivate someone. You can't want it for someone else. There are some people out there that just aren't motivated. They don't want they don't want to succeed or succeed at a high level. They just want to live a normal life, and that's fine, but that's not what our company's about. If you want to make 50K a year, if you want to make 60, 70K a year, there's plenty of 9-to-5 jobs that you can go and do that and be comfortable. But here, you know, we're looking for people that are motivated just to reach a higher level than what they know they can do. So that's something. Another thing is obviously you got to be cleaned up. You got to be presentable. That's for sure. You can't come in here with like long scarecrow hair and like, you know, messy clothes.
Me looking at my hair real quick.
No, but you know, you got to be decently, what's it called?
Decently groomed. Yep.
You got to be presentable. But other than that, yeah, I think motivation is the biggest factor. You got to be motivated. We have these meetings that may get you a little bit more motivated, but you got to be internally motivated because we can't want it for you. You have to want it for yourself.
High intentions, I would say. Also, like we'd be very selective on who we bring on, because, you know, having that one person who's, you know, not as motivated or just coming in here for the culture, right? In that aspect, that one person could, you know, bring down the whole team. So it's really like you know, who you surround yourself with is who you're gonna end up being. So I would say like it is motivation. That's a big aspect of it, and like having that high intention of, you know, working every single day and, you know, not giving up, not partying, not going out on the weekends, you know, getting training instead of that. Because you could have that one person who's really motivated. And me and you both probably know who, you know, a couple kids from our high school, we probably know who would be a good fit and who wouldn't be a good fit, right? That's why, you know, a lot of them haven't come out, because, you know, bringing that one person can bring down the whole team if they're not really, you know, about working 24 hours, you know, a day, you know, including training. That's what I mean by that. And, you know, having that high intention of this, you know, as all of us going out there and killing it. So it's just very selective on who we bring on.
For sure. Yeah.
So tell us about the culture here.
Yeah, I think the culture, that is the reason why we're so selective, is the culture is the most important thing here. It's more important than anything. So, you know, our culture is it's hard work, obviously, you know, between the working hours of the week, Monday, Saturday, whatever the working hours are, it's hard work. But what's cool is that after hours, you know, we're all friends, we're all buddies, we hang out on the weekends. We wouldn't want to bring in someone that we wouldn't want to hang out with on the weekends. that's a big way to look at it. If you have an organization or you have a team that you're trying to build, if you don't want to hang out with that person on the weekends, you shouldn't bring them into your culture, because it's probably going to bring it down. So we're always hanging out after work once we get all our work done, and playing sports. Because we're a competitive group. Competitiveness is so important. So we go out and play sports. We compete against each other. And we compete against other teams. You know, we'll play basketball at LA Fitness or whatever, and there's other teams there, and we always win. So, you know, it's a pretty cool culture we have over here at Rise.
Where do you see this company going?
Since we're like
in 2022.
Yeah, so we have massive goals. We're gonna have 50 reps in the company by June 1st. So a big push into summer. I know with our leadership that we already have, and with our ability, with 50 people, we can produce over, we can hit about 50 million in revenue for the year. So if we get 50 people by summer, by June 1st, our goals are more of recruiting goals. 50 people by June 1st to hit summer hard with and focus. Once you get into basically from January to June until summer, you're building, you're training, you're growing, you're getting new reps, their first couple of deals, and then for the whole summer, you're just going hard. All you're focused on is sales. All you're focused on is getting, installs. And that's when your reps make the most money, so that they're happy and they want to keep going throughout the rest of the year. And then at the end of summer, so like September 31st, basically for the second half of the year, we want another 50 reps, and we want to finish out the year with 100 reps. So we have massive goals. I know that we can hit them because we have a great culture here. And everyone that comes in here is going to succeed. If they don't, if they're not a good fit, then we'll say, hey, it was nice meeting you. But everyone in our organization is going to be high producers. They're not going to be super low producers, or just bodies as you might call them. We're going to bring in people that are a good fit and train them up to be what we need them to be. So 100 reps by the end of the year, 50 reps by June 1st.
How much are you making this year, Sean?
My goals are set, 2.75 million. That's what I'm going to make personally, and I'm not gonna negotiate that goal at all.
Paulina?
I want to make 200,000 this year.
Perfect. Abdul?
Mine's $500,000.
$500,000? Same. I want to make around 500,000 as well. I feel like if we follow what Sean did last year, we would have no problem getting there. But especially now, like, it's so crazy to think about 2 years ago, like when I was a junior in college, I was literally in my class daydreaming about having an 80K job or a 90K job. And nowadays I'm just like, if I put in less than 100K in pipeline for the month, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not on track. Right? So it's like, it's super interesting when you come into solar. It's like your numbers almost 10x, right? Would you say it's around 10x what regular people are making?
I'd say, any multiple, yeah. Like I think if you were on, let's put it this way, if you're on track to make six figures, you probably would have got cut like early on.
Yeah.
If you were on track to make not six figures, 100,000. That's what, like 10,000 a month, 8,000.
Yeah.
It's like eight. Yeah, that wouldn't be acceptable. That's like 1 to 2 deals a month, and we would be like, dude, we can't accept this. You got to put your numbers up. So if you would never make 100,000 here in a year, because you'd probably get let go before you did.
Yeah.
And not saying that in like a harsh way, but if you are doing that, that probably means you're not really working that hard. 2 deals a month is not hard. That's 1 every 2 weeks. So we'd probably be like, dude, you're probably not showing up. You're probably playing video games during the day, and we'd have to let you go or change that.
Yeah, I love sort of like the high expectations at this team, because obviously, like last year, sort of walk us through, like, how did you make that 500,000? Did you have to go into management? Did you have, like, what did you do to make 500,000?
Well, I was a manager, but 75% more than that. Like 80% of all my income came from straight commissions. So the other 20% was actually, I believe that if I wasn't managing, I would have had more time to go and make even more money. You know, the 20% was, I spent a lot of time managing and training just for that 20%. If I wasn't doing that, I probably would have made a lot more. But I love helping people and bringing people up. But, so yeah, it was just straight selling every day. Like I said, waking up in the morning, finding a new reason to get excited, finding a new reason to show up. On the weekends, on Sunday, I always take Sunday off. I usually take Sunday off. The whole day I'm finding reasons to get excited for my whole next week. I'm like, dude, look at that nice car. Like, I want that. Or look at that penthouse. And I'm literally looking up penthouses. I'm looking up celebrities' houses nearby. Tom Brady lives nearby here in Tampa Bay, and I'm looking at his house. I'll drive by these nice neighborhoods on Sundays. This is something I've always done. I lived in LA for a year. Every Sunday I would drive through the Beverly Hills, and I'm just looking at all the houses and just saying, that's going to be me one day. And I'm looking at the people inside. I'm like, who does that guy have to be to own that house? I'm looking at a massive mansion. It's worth, I don't know, it's worth $20 million, $25 million. And I see the guy inside. He's just got his groceries in from the grocery store. And I'm like, what kind of person does that have to be able to own that house and live in that house? And I'm what's it called? Just sort of setting my mindset to be like someone that owns that house. So just every day waking up, getting excited, every weekend, getting excited for the week, every first of the month, getting excited for the month and finding new reasons to show up.
Bro, you're giving me goosebumps over here. I'm just an immigrant boy. I come over here and he's talking about 20, 30,000 a day. I'm like, what is going on? But for real though, and I think that's what it really came down to. Like, when you put in that much production last year, like a lot of people that are watching this, they probably don't know like the intricacies of like what it takes to get paid. But having over 100 installs in this industry your first year, that's like amazing, right? Like that's each deal you're getting paid 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 per account. I guess sort of like walk us through what made you want to just keep going, because obviously a lot of people, they would stop at 500,000, right? But not you. You wanted to even take things to a next level. What do you have in store for yourself and the team and the people that are going to join you on this journey?
Yeah, I mean, I made a lot of money and then I started my own company. So I'm definitely not done yet. And the reason is it's just having those big goals, like crazy goals. I look at those multi-million-dollar mansions, and that's what I want. And how much do I have to make to be able to afford that and be able to live in that? So you don't have to have goals that big. You definitely don't have to have goals that big. But I definitely do. And I think that those things, those nice things in life are there for somebody to grab. Like, who's it going to be? And I figured, why not me? So I set those massive goals. How much do I have to make to live in Derek Jeter's old house, Tom Brady's old house here in Tampa Bay? I think it's $30 million?
Definitely up there.
Yeah. How much do I have to make? What kind of person do I have to be? What do I have to do in life to be able to own and live in that house? And just being able to just having freedom. I think financial freedom is a huge goal for me. Is having all like investments that can feed my bank account when I'm not even working, while I'm sleeping. That's financial freedom, and that's also what I really want. I don't want to have to work out. I don't want to have to work. I want to work because I want to, not because I have to. So there's so many things, and the more goals you have, the more you're going to be excited to go out there and keep ripping for a few years. You may have to do it for 5, 10, 15 years. It's really up to you. How much can you cut down that time to where you can retire and you can live off of your investments or whatever it is. And so for me, I want it to be as short as possible. People ask me all the time, like, why do I work the way I do? It's because I'm lazy. I want to be able to retire soon with all the things that I want. So I'm working like crazy so that I can be lazy. But I'll probably keep working because I love to work. But I want the ability to choose when I work and not have to work. And I could already argue that I'm kind of almost there, but I want to build that financial freedom. So I'm going to go and keep ripping until it's just making me money in my sleep. I think that's like the key to life financially, is making money while you sleep. And in order to do that, you have to make an income first. You have to make a good income first. So It's all starts with your income, and then that translates into investments, and then you can kind of do what you want. But that's why I keep showing up more and more. Yeah. What are your guys's? We already went over goals, right?
Yeah. Went over number goals. So $500,000, 200, 2.75. I wanted to go over like, besides like money, like what truly like drives you to be out here in Florida and to do this at such a young age. Like where do you think this is gonna take you?
Yeah. With a company?
Just like in general, like the company Rise Solar, like where's Rise heading? Where are we headed? Where's this whole journey headed? What's the next chapter look like?
Yeah, I think Rise Solar is going to become a massive brand here in Florida, something that you can recognize and see over and over again, and know exactly what it is. And once we get big enough, we get to our 100 rep goal here in Florida. We're going to expand throughout the country and really be a name that people want to go to, and we want to have brand recognition. So eventually everyone's going to go solar. I mean, we know that it's the way of the future. Eventually every car is going to be electric. Maybe I sound crazy right now, but they're already creating laws that every car has to be electric in certain states. We're all going to have solar, every house eventually. Every car is going to be electric. Who are going to be the household names that it comes to when they think about solar? Because they're going to have to get it. They're going to say, well, every single one of my family has it. It's time I go get it. Who should I go to? And then Rise is right on the top of their mind because we're all throughout the country. Texas, California, Florida, obviously starting here in Florida, but they're going to go to us because we're at the top of mind. We have the top of mind awareness in the market. So that's where we're headed.
Thank you. I love where we're headed because I'm just getting goosebumps at sitting in your passenger seat of your McLaren, just trying to, brother, take me to CVS real quick.
We're in a V12.
Yep. Into CVS.
CVS, huh? Nowhere else? All right. I'm super excited about the future. We're growing fast. It's going to be awesome. So
I'm excited to build like the culture, having, everybody become closer, creating the team. That's exciting to me. And, showing everybody like why you want to be in this company, why you want to be here. Because, we're all young and we're all like, we have that drive every day to get up and work. But, we know when to have a good time too.
For sure.
So the culture is going to be fun to build too.
Yeah. I mean, it's reward and punishment. That's how you push yourself further. It's like punish yourself. If you don't hit your goals one week, then work that whole Saturday or work Sunday. That's your punishment. If you do hit it, take Sunday off, take Saturday off. Reward yourself for hitting your goals and punish yourself for not. So, what we want to do as a culture is kind of the same thing. Is like if we hit our goals, we get to go out, we get to go on those cool trips to Miami or, to some island somewhere, whatever it is. And if we don't, maybe we find some way to have to put in that extra work to get where we want to be. So, for sure.
I think one of the things for me that was like, oh my God, I'm definitely about this was like the whole aroma of like what we do outside of work. Because obviously like we bust our cajoons off throughout the week. We bust our cajoons off all week, but I love how like on the weekends we get to do cool things. Like we'll go on a boat or we went on a helicopter, but it's just like being around, your friends that you literally made so much with throughout the week. And then on the weekend having to enjoy it. Sean, let me ask you something, right? Your first year, obviously, how was your experience? Your first 3 months into the industry versus now? Because obviously like even in my own life, I've seen how it's a difference once you're actually on okay, I've got this, it clicked, I can make sales. You're not really like that the first 3 months. You may not, like it might be a lot more difficult. How did your journey go? And like, because obviously a lot of people watching this, they're gonna think, okay, well like it's so easy, like they all did it, I could do it, but they don't truly know like the story of like what it took to get there. How did your first 3 month 3 months in the industry go, and how did you transition into somebody that was like a top producer and getting money and then motivated enough to stay to where you made multiple six figures?
Yeah, it's a great question. So my first 3 months, you said 3 months?
Yeah.
My first 3 months were really tough. I was at a different company out in New England. There's not much sun in New England. And, I felt like a lone wolf. I always said I kind of felt like a lone wolf. I'd go out every morning, no meeting. Only meetings were once a week at this like rundown office somewhere. And every other day it was just me. No one told me to go out to turf, but I would just go out to turf. I'd wake up in the morning. I'd like eat something, and I'd just go straight to turf every single day. I remember talking to my friend that was at my company, and he was like, "Bro, you're already at turf?" It was like 11 a.m. He's like, "You're already at turf? Like, are you even gonna see people? Like, everyone's at work, like no one's home." And I was like, "I don't know, dude. What else would I be doing?" So I just, I would wake up, just go straight to turf. I was working a lot harder than anyone else, just because I figured it's what I should do. It was just like what my mental like told me to do, but it was very tough. I felt like a lone wolf, and to go back to that culture thing is like there was no culture, and so I felt like I was just alone out there. I didn't know how much I should be making. I was like, if I got so many deals, I'd probably think it's too crazy and I'd pull back. It's like I didn't know I didn't know any of that stuff because there was no culture. There was no one to talk to about it and stuff like that. I had a manager, but he had only been in the industry for like 3 to 6 months as well. So it was tough. But then I switched over I went to California, and I started, there was a great culture, and I started building teams that had great cultures. And those cultures are why people come into the teams that I have now, and they don't go through the same struggle that I went through. In their first 3 months, they're getting multiple deals. And, my first 3 months, I got probably like 5 deals maybe. But their first 3 months, their first month, they're getting deals in their first week. And then their second week, even more, third week, fourth week. And it's because of the culture that I know it's important to create. So we always create that everywhere we go. So that's kind of the difference between my beginning and I know that and people that are starting now under Rise.
That's amazing. Paulina, what do you think is the most endearing trait that Sean has? I'm going to answer, but I want you to answer first because I'm not trying to steal him from you over. Go ahead. About leadership. Not about like.
No, yeah.
About leadership.
I just think how much he really cares about his team. Even when he's not working, like he's always like talking about them, like how can I make them better? I just really think he genuinely really cares about everyone. So I think that's his best trait. When it comes to leadership, he really cares about everyone.
Oh, thank you.
Let's go. Shawnee boy's like, let's go. Now you're his friend. You've known him since middle school. What's the number one thing that you've noticed has changed about Sean throughout the years? Because obviously he's not the same person that he was, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah. Me and Sean, what did you say, middle school? Since middle school?
Yeah, I think so.
Like fourth grade? Mm-hmm. Like fourth grade. I would say that like his intention and his motivation to like work really, like he's a hard worker compared to back then. Like I didn't notice that with him, in school. I mean, now I like what I see. It's not Sean. It's not the old Sean, at least. He's going 24/7. Like he's always trying to figure something out and keep going to be successful. And he is successful, and he has a great future ahead of him. Back then I probably wouldn't say the same. Sean was more of a, would you say, a party type. But like he's definitely changed in a great way to become a great leader and start his own company, and I see like great success in this. So he's came a long way.
Thank you. I seen Abdul. Yeah, I think, were you in West Kingston?
West Kingston, right, yeah.
So I knew
fourth grade.
Since fourth grade, and like I wouldn't have thought he would have been like an entrepreneur or make a lot of money or I don't know what I would have thought, but I definitely know that I noticed like he had a certain like look in his eye. It's like this look of like determination. I feel like he was an introvert. I was an introvert too. And that, yeah, I just tell like when he asked to come out, I was like, this kid's going to be good. I was like, for sure. Like he's always had that look in his eye. Like if he focused on something, he's going to put all of his attention into it. And that's what I think I had too. I was just, after high school, after junior year, everyone told me, oh, junior year is the only time you have to try, and then you'll get into whatever college you want to. So I did junior year. I tried as hard as I could, did pretty well. I got like a 3.6 GPA or something. And then after that, downhill. I didn't do anything because everyone told me junior year, that's the only time you have to try and you'll get into whatever college. I got denied by Penn State, denied by U Miami, denied by who else? Someone else denied me too. Those are tough schools, but not that tough.
Anybody accept you?
Yeah, the only people that accepted me was University of Rhode Island, which is where I was in state for, and they weren't that hard to get into. And after that, I went down the wrong path. I was hanging out with the wrong people, doing the wrong things, and it's crazy to think that was only 3 years ago. But I knew at one point I had to get out of there. I left like it was the plague. Suddenly something clicked in my head, and I was like, these are not the right people I want to be around. I'm doing things that aren't me, that aren't how I grew up, not how my parents raised me. And something clicked, and I ran away from it like the plague. No one even where'd Sean go? He was just here, and now he's gone. I literally, something clicked, and I ran out of there like the plague. I was delivering pizzas for a while, running kind of online businesses, and those didn't really work out because I had no money to run those businesses because all I was doing was delivering pizzas, and that's when I got into the industry. But I always kind of had that like focus on one thing. If I'll pick one thing and go absolutely insane at it until it works, and I think that's what you had too. And that's a huge trait, is like tunnel vision. I say it all the time. It's like laser focus, tunnel vision. Don't be trying to do this and that and, write a book here and then sell this here and then run a store here. You have to be doing one thing and having a tunnel vision on it until you get it done. If you try, humans can't multitask. They think they can multitask, but they can't. So you have to focus on one thing until it absolutely explodes, and then you can start doing the other things that you want to do. So, yeah.
Shawnee boy, sort of to segue off that, right? Because obviously I've seen a lot of guys too, on our prior team before that you had started Rise. I see a lot of like people like either like putting one toe into it, just testing it out, or like just, going half in on it. And even like I myself am at fault for this. My first couple of months, I was still in college. I still had a work from home job, and I wasn't really testing it out. I guess sort of like, because obviously online they say, entrepreneurs, they have 7 streams of income, this, that. I see a lot of people involved in NFTs. They try to create this project here, this project here, this project here, and they end up failing at every single one of them. What sort of like makes someone really successful in solar? Like what type of person does it take to be all in and just be super successful and know everything about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, if you chase 2 rabbits, you catch none. If you chase 2 rabbits at one time, you catch none. So it's just having that singular focus into solar. I wanted to do the e-commerce as I started doing solar. And what I found was that there was no way it was going to work. I found that out immediately. So, I would try to like come home early so I would still have some energy to work on it at night. No way. It was like, I was like, that's not going to work. I was like, let me work until it's pitch dark out and come home, and literally sometimes I would just pass out in my bed. Wouldn't even eat, do nothing, just pass out in my bed. That's how like tired I'd be. And that's the type of person that's going to get it done in a short amount of time. I think Elon Musk says if you want to get twice as much done as someone, if someone's working 40 hours, just go out and work 100 hours, and you're going to get stuff done twice as fast as them. And it's really that simple. So I just focused fully on this for a long amount of time, and suddenly I have a way to go out at any time and go make $5,000-$10,000 now. So it's a lot better than dabbling in this and dabbling in that and sticking your toe in that. I have one way to make a high income that I can go do at any time, and I can go and invest that money or do whatever I want with that money. But that's the type of person it takes. Singular focus, work hard. Don't try to focus on other things. Don't try to become the best golf player ever. Don't try to become the best, basketball player ever while you're doing this, or while you're doing anything. Only focus on one thing at a time. And that's how you become the best at something in your company or in your industry. Also, if you have a plan B, I know a lot of people will come into the job with like a plan B. If this doesn't work, I'll go back to college, or if this doesn't work, I have a job set up or an internship set up. Guess what? Everyone that has a plan B fails. You can't have a plan B. It can only be plan A and plan A only. You shouldn't be thinking about, but if this fails, I'm all right. I can fall back on this. It's like plan A, this cannot fail. I cannot lose. There's no such thing as it might fail or it could not work out. It's like this is all I have. Plan A, that's it. No plan B. It's a no plan B mentality. People that come in and try to stick their feet in and try it out, how often do those people end up succeeding?
Never.
Yeah, you have to come in fully engaged and fully focused, and that's how you're going to do really well.
That's awesome, Sean. The other aspect of it too is like I've noticed there's a lot of like innovators, right, that'll come in. Obviously, like what you did last year to make 500,000. People that haven't knocked doors before, that haven't done solar, like you tell them about it, and they'll always try to like sort of like help you out or say, why don't you just run this ad, or why don't you get online? Sort of like walk everyone through, why are we knocking doors? Why are we sticking through that as our bread and butter? Why are we not, delving into other marketing, other ways? Because you're a living example of somebody that went out there and did the shortest sales cycle ever, where within 15 minutes, you're closing the sale down. Sort of walk us through why door knocking, why not any other form of outreach?
Yeah, I love that question. I know plenty of companies and plenty of guys that do the whole online marketing, and then they go and just sit in their house and close it on Zoom, or they just pull up to houses that are already set up appointments and they go and close it. I know plenty of guys like that, and they're not nearly as far along as guys that are great at the door-to-door space. I could easily go and do that at any time, but I would never. Because door-to-door, what you have to realize is you're providing so much value to the marketplace. One, you're doing the prospecting. You're taking a cold person that has no idea what you're offering, has no idea who you are or what your brand is, and you're flipping them in one conversation to a customer. So you're prospecting. So all that money that Facebook, hundreds of millions of dollars spends on advertising, all these big companies spend on advertising, you cut that out entirely. And there's no middleman. The company didn't have to spend that on you going to find this customer. You found them yourself. So you created business where there was no business before. And that's why direct sales is the highest paid profession in the world, is because you go out, you do the prospecting, you find the customer, you turn them into a customer. You literally created business out of thin air. And that takes a person with, a lot of skill and a lot of determination to do that over and over and over again. Is taking something that there was nothing before and creating business right there. We have an average contract value of $43,000. So we have guys literally going out there, meeting someone, and an hour or two later, they just signed a $43,000 contract on average with us. And that's an amazing thing. And that's why in solar and in door-to-door, you get the lion's share of the profit on the deal. The rep always gets the way more massive amount of the profit on the deal. That's why guys do so well in door-to-door in such a short period of time. It's because you are literally providing so much value to the marketplace. You get paid in proportion to how much value you bring to the marketplace, and this is probably the number one profession for that.
That's amazing. I'm still getting goosebumps. I'm sorry. Even from earlier, they're still there. So may I ask you, let's say, for example, right, I just want 7,000 to hit my bank account by, this time next month, right? Because obviously the sale has to go through. What do I, because right now it's 11:30 a.m. Like, what do I need to do to get that?
Right now it's 11:30, dude. You can make way more than that in a month from now.
No, I'm talking about just today.
Yeah. So I'm saying, like, you want to make 7,000 in a month. you could go out there right now, your 30-minute drive to turf, knock as many doors as possible. And you can't talk to 30 people. They say that you can't talk to, no matter how good or bad you are, you can't talk to 30 people without getting them to sit down with you and like listen to you. And solar sells itself. So as soon as you sit down with someone, we all know you're most likely going to close that person. I mean, literally three out of four, you're going to close them, or 2 out of 3, depending on how far along you are, you're going to close them on solar. All you have to do is sit down with them. So literally go out there, go find 30 people that are home and have a conversation with them about it. I don't care what your door presentation is, and you're gonna get a sale. And in a month from now, you're gonna get paid $7,000. So it's really that simple.
That's why I'm excited, because I was just like, it's 11:30 right now. You know, I'm gonna set up an appointment. I had a homeowner actually call me like 2-3 minutes ago, and it's actually so crazy to think about. Like, sometimes we get so busy because we're with other homeowners that we'll literally have people calling us saying, hey, come, I'm ready to sign me up. And you'll just be like, man, my day is booked for the day. And that's why like the mindset sort of like shifted for me when I realized that like I'm in control of like how much money is coming into my bank account, not society, not my managers, not anyone else. It's literally me, right? So, and it sort of really changed my like thinking on like how money works. It's like, if you want it in this industry, at least in this industry, if you want it and if you've learned the skill, like you can get it, right? And it's like, it's completely different than what we've been taught as, you know, we're growing up and going to school. So yeah, that's one thing I'm looking forward to is I'm going to be sitting in a home after this, and it's a $7,000 deal. So I was like, let's go. Yeah.
It's that easy. Yeah. What else? Ask me, if I were a recruit and I want to join, what would you be looking for?
Okay. So let's say you're a recruit and you want to join Rise. What are you looking for?
Yeah. So if you hit me up or you DM me or you text me or something like that and you want to join, there's a couple things I'm looking for. One is, are you motivated? Are you want to reach for something higher than yourself, higher than your average normal salary job? You know, at least 6 figures, multiple 6 figures. One of the first things I'm going to ask you is, what are your goals? How much money do you want to make this year? And if it's less than like, you know, 150,000, I'm going to be a little worried, and I'm going to ask a few more questions. But yeah, I mean, just, and the biggest thing behind that is the culture. Are you able to fit in with our culture? Are you someone that we'd want to hang out with on the weekends, not just at work? So you could be a great worker, the most hardest worker ever, but if you're going to come in here and, you know, you mess up the culture, it's not worth it. It's not worth it for us to bring you on. So those are the 2 main things we're looking for here at Rise, if you want to join.
Yeah. Bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. I mean, a lot of people are scared to take risks, you know? So like there's going to be a lot of people that want to join, but in the back of their head, they're thinking is, can I do this? Would I be successful? You know, just take that risk. You know, that's what a lot of us did. You know,
what made you want to come out 3-4 months ago?
Because what made me come out, I mean, so what it was, you know, it was all about the culture also. You know, I saw the culture in the company. That was one thing. And then the second thing was, you know, I really wanted to make a change and bet on myself. You know, I was working at a furniture store back in, this was after I moved from Rhode Island, moved to Ohio, started working at a furniture store. And, you know, I noticed that, like, you know, this is not what I want to do. There's no future in this for me. Even though it was good pay jobs, good pay structure, you know, I wanted, it was kind of capped. So I wanted to make a change. And, you know, now we're working 1099, you know, it's your own, pretty much you're working for yourself. So with the 1099, I say, the way I look at it is like, you know, the only way you're going to make money is if you go out there and, you know, betting on yourself pretty much. You know, taking that risk and just, you know, coming from a whole different state, taking that risk, coming here and making that change is, you know, it's a big change for a lot of people, and a lot of people are going to be, you know, risk taking. They're going to be scared to do that. But I say once you do that, you know, your first month, you'll feel kind of, you know, iffy. But once you get past that first month and you know, you start seeing a little success in it, that's what makes you want to keep going and, you know, getting better. And, you know, it's kind of like a game. You want to keep getting better and better every day. So I mean, that's what really changed me. You know, the money too.
For sure, and I like the sink or swim mentality. You came out here, you had really no other choice. If you didn't make it, like you said, you'd have to go back to your parents and say, "Hey guys, like I basically failed," and that's something that you really, it's like a non-negotiable in your head. That's what when I talk about being uncomfortable, that's what pushes you to do more than you've ever done. So I did the same thing. I moved out to California after 6 months in the industry. I was still 19 years old, and I was like, I'm moving out. I told my parents I'm moving out. I went from Rhode Island all the way across the country to Los Angeles, and I was out there. I was struggling at first with the new platforms and all this stuff for a couple weeks, and I remember just sitting there like, dude, if I fail right now, I have to go back to my parents. I have to go back to my parents' house, literally in the room that I was a baby in, and tell my parents I failed. Like I didn't make it out there, and I couldn't have that. That was a non-negotiable in my head. So I was literally up, when you hear about people working late into the night, that's who I was, and that's why I was that. I was up until midnight, literally watching training videos and doing push-ups in between, just all night, writing notes, training. And then I was the first person on the doors and the last person off, because I had that intentionality of, if I fail, I have to tell my parents, like, I failed, and I have to go back to my childhood bedroom. And I was like, I'm not doing that.
All that pressure on you too.
And I ended up making, in that first month and a half, I made more in a month than I ever had in the industry. And I was able to go get this luxury, crazy apartment, and I haven't had to, I've lived on my own ever since. So it was a huge game changer doing that and getting uncomfortable. Yeah, so that concludes this podcast. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna my Instagram, if you want to reach out to me or see what we're up to, or DM me, it's at Sean Hallmander. That's SeanHolmander.
My Instagram is what's up Newman.
Mine is _Abdul15 _.